Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Now that we have the whole merry countdown to Christmas over with, we can get back into our regular programming, which is being supernatural or being of the supernatural realm. So if you are returning or if you're new subscribers, welcome to the Supernatural Files. It's where we dive into the supernatural myth and lore of creatures, and some frightening, some terrifying. Today we are venturing into one of the terrifying ones, which is, it's a type of ghost that you don't really hear, because you hear about a vengeful spirit or a ghost, but you don't hear that much of a poltergeist. It's one of the most terrifying ghost creatures you can come upon. So without further ado, let's get into this week's episode of the Supernatural Files, Poltergeist Edition. A poltergeist is an extremely malevolent and destructive entity common in the folklore and mythology of almost every culture on Earth. The name itself translates into noisy ghost, but poltergeists exhibit specific powers and patterns that differ them from regular ghosts. It is believed that poltergeists will attach themselves to a victim who attempts to flee or exorcise the spirits, resulting in great disaster even if exorcised completely. There have been accounts of poltergeists returning to plague their victims. Let's get into the etymology of poltergeist. The word poltergeist comes from the German language words poltern, which means to make, sound, or rumble, and Geist, which means ghost or spirit, and the term itself translates as noisy ghost, rumble ghost, or a loud spirit, a synonym coined by Rene Sudra in Thuribism from the ancient Greek thurovein, to make noise or uproar, to throw into confusion. While ghosts will haunt a specific area, normally the place of their death, a poltergeist may latch onto a family or individual and become a plague upon their life. Even the moving home is said to be futile, as the poltergeist will follow its victim if it has latched on. Poltergeists are also far more malicious than ghosts and actively seek to harm the living. They will violently throw objects around, create horrible sounds, manifest gruesome imagery, and even cause physical harm to victims via causing bite marks, scratches, or other disfigurement. Some of the most terrifying poltergeists have been reported to levitate people off the ground, electrocute them, toss them downstairs, or other acts far more direct and dangerous than those of a typical ghost. Poltergeists also tend to stay invisible, only manifesting briefly, if at all. For this reason, some believe that the poltergeists are not spirits, but destructive psychic energy, akin to intelligence seen in some poltergeist cases, where the poltergeist seems to have a very determined and cruel personality. Poltergeists have been said to be demons, the restless dead, extra-dimensional entities, fairies, trolls, goblins, or other magic beings. Some even class them as a unique supernatural entity in their own right. In many superstitions, witches, warlocks, and other practitioners of dark magic could summon poltergeists, cause havoc on victims. In some superstitions, poltergeists may even be the spirits of such wicked magic users. Poltergeists are also famous for their ability to possess a body of a mortal or immortal. They do this usually when the person is asleep, simply because it is a simpler process. Such process varies from each ghost to the next, but for the common single branch poltergeist or poltergeist, often seen as an orb of blob, this is done by making the form of the sleeper's heart and resting on it perfectly like a stencil to a drawing. Other form of the multi-bodied poltergeist or poltergeists with limbs and extra torso body parts. For example, a human, you must lay on the sleeper's body
and get it perfectly lined up. Poltergeists can come in many forms, including anamorphic animals or animals besides humans. One more common form is the lichess poltergeist or living poltergeist. An example of this would be a witch whom has performed a spell that makes them able to live for the amount of lives that their true lucky number is. This is often called immortality. Every time they die, they'll need a new body. Lich poltergeists aren't a living form and have the freedom to leave a body when they wish. And unless you left because the body died, not used up alive, and also to never enter a body. While doing this, you can only touch or interact with other ghostly figures or objects. Let's get into the unverified natural phenomenon. Attempts have also been made to scientifically explain poltergeist disturbance that have not been traced to fraud or psychological factors. Skeptic and magician Milbourne Christopher found that some cases of poltergeist activity can be attributed to unusual air currents, such as a 1957 case on Cape Cod where downdrafts from an uncovered chimney became strong enough to blow a mirror off the wall, overturn chairs, and knock things off shelves. In the 1950s, Guy William Lambert posed that reported poltergeist phenomenon could be explained by the movement of underground water causing stress on the houses. He suggested that water turbulence could cause strange sounds or structural movements of the property, possibly causing the house to vibrate and move objects. Later researchers such as Alan Gall and Tony Cornell tested Lambert's hypothesis by placing specific objects in different rooms and subjecting the house to strong mechanical vibrations. They discovered that although the structure of the building had been damaged, only a few of the objects moved a very short distance. The skeptic Trevor Hall criticized the hypothesis, claiming if it was true, the building would almost certainly fall into ruins. According to Richard Wiseman, the hypothesis has not been held up to scrutiny. Michael Persinger has theorized that seismic activity could cause poltergeist phenomenon. However, Persinger's claim regarding the effects of environmental geomagnetic activity on paranormal experiences have not been independently replicated, and, like his findings regarding the God helmet, may simply be explained by the suggestibility of participants. Let's get into the paranormal aspect. Parapsychologists Nandor Fodor and William G. Roll suggests that poltergeist activity can be explained by psychokinesis. Historically, actual malicious spirits were blamed for apparent poltergeist-type activity, such as objects moving seemingly of their own accord. According to Alan Kardec, the founder of Spiritism, poltergeists are manifestations of disembodied spirits of low level belonging to the sixth class of the third order. Under this explanation, they are believed to be closely associated with the elements fire, air, water, and earth. In Finland, somewhat famous are the case of the Makela ghost in 1946, which received attention in the press at the time, and the Devils of Martin and Yuljarfi in the late 19th century, for which affidavits were obtained in the court. Samueli Palaharjo has also recorded a memoir of a typical poltergeist, the case of Salko Nila from the south of Lake Inari, in his book Memoirs of Lapland. The story has also been published in the collection of mythical stories. Let's get into the powers and abilities. The powers and abilities are biokinesis, invisibility, and telekinesis. The weakness is house purification ritual. It is possible to use this to destroy a poltergeist if it is placed in all the floors of the north, south, east, and west corners of the building it's haunting. However, for stronger poltergeists, this might just wound them. Salting and burning remains. Poltergeists can be killed if you can find the remains and you salt and burn them. That is, if a spirit had manifested into a poltergeist. Salt. Like all ghosts, salt repels and weakens poltergeists.
I don't know about you guys, but hearing all that about the poltergeist really scares me, and I'm glad that I don't have a poltergeist, or I've never encountered a poltergeist before, because they sound like some terrifying creatures. If you like this video, hit the red subscribe button down below. Click it with the thumbs up, click the notification bell to always on, and leave a comment down below and tell me if you would like to see another creature. Tell me what creature you would like to see in the comment section below. Like always, this has been an education and interesting episode of the Supernatural Files. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.